Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Dmitry and this is Value Cars Australia. Today we're going to talk about the ever-present and ever-important topic for this channel anyway, and that is ownership of Chinese vehicles in Australia in 2023 and beyond. Any comments that are related to the fact that Chinese vehicles depreciate more severely and faster perhaps than European vehicles or Japanese vehicles and stuff like that, no one is arguing with that fact. Me as a person who, not just for the channel, it just happened that way, that coming out of COVID, I have exchanged a few cars. What this gave me, my friends, is an extra perspective that I kinda am coming to the punchline here. There are Chinese cars and there are Chinese cars. So brands are different. As with any country, as with European cars, you know, like BMW is different from, Renault or Citroën or something like that. Chinese manufacturers are different. Some of them are worth your money, some of them are not. That is what I humbly believe, yeah? But at the same time, of course there is a trade-off. Of course, some of these bits have the potential of breaking sooner. Brake pads on MG ZST wear off sooner because some alloy is softer there. Of course, there will be some trade-offs like this. Say Chery. Chery is a friendly brand to me. We are not friends where I'm invited to some gala dinners, but I've been at the launch of Chery Amoda 5, if you need to know. It was great, by the way. And I like how they approached me, and I like that they were not too cool for school, right? They are good people who are trying to sell their product. With that being said, in my humble opinion, right now as it stands, and we only have Chery Amoda 5 model to go by. That's very important because every brand, every product has the right to evolve. When they hopefully bring another product, we'll have a look at it. But if we go about Chery Amoda 5 and looking at it, and I drove many of them, I would say if you want a rating, I would say Chery Amoda 5 is at the bottom of my list of recommendations. I think that the car is a little too plasticky, a little too overfilled with poorly tuned electronics that I personally didn't enjoy, and I think it's gonna annoy you more than make you feel like you are in this poor man's Tesla that has autopilot and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't. It is just annoying, okay? And workmanship remains to be seen. We simply are not closing the book on this because it hasn't been on our shows long enough, but it doesn't strike me, and I didn't find enough information elsewhere that would prove that this is a worthy investment for you. So I would not, at this stage, recommend that you buy Chery Amoda 5, but I would recommend that you remain a sensible person and remain open to what else they bring to the market. Okay, that's that. That's the bottom place for me personally. Yeah, sorry Chery, it is just the truth. Slightly above Chery comes LDV. LDV, in my humble opinion, is value for money in terms of if you need a van or a family SUV like LDV D90 right now, or a truck like a Ute right now. And by right now, I mean you only have $35,000, $40,000, and you need one right now. That is when you go for LDV. There were some publications on the internet and on YouTube specifically about that case of that Ute rusting, T60 rusting somewhere when the guy parked it in the salt water or close to it anyway. It shouldn't have happened, but I am translating Russian reviews and Russian disassembly of the videos, and I can tell you that in any somewhat elements exposed conditions, the cars need to have extra rust protection in order not to rust. That is not to say that LDV is not assembled from cheaper materials. They probably are, in fact, but anything rusts. Anything does, okay? So that's that. That's my opinion on that. However, overall, from the value, from the creature's comforts, from everything else that you're getting from LDV, as I see it, by not being an expert, being a private owner, have had a car, researched cars, I think that that's second place from the bottom of what you could get right now in Australia. Place number 3 right now would be not like just a slice of it, but it would be a big margin filled in with a lot of offers, because that brand, as opposed to LDV, as opposed to Chery, has a lot to offer, and that's MG. I am an old friend of MGs. I had 2 MGs. I continue talking to them. I just reviewed MG5. I just reviewed MG4 EV, and I liked them genuinely for what they were, for what value they bring. Watch those videos. But I think that MG is above them. Quality is, I think, okay, and I'm not a mechanic, I think it's a bit better than, say, LDV. And I think it's a bit better than Chery. I do think so. However, MG is still not great wall motor. And that is not me simply tooting my own horn here of driving a GWM Haval or thinking of GWM tank, right? It is combination of my own experience as well as watching forum channels, as well as getting a lot of other information over the time. But I'd say MG wins so far on the market commercially because they have a much bigger spread than any of those other brands. And I think that MG is definitely having a little bit of a toy for everyone. Other than me personally, because I want a truck, I want a Jeep, and MG doesn't have it. Okay, that's a shame. But MG has a very small car. MG has a budget sedan now. MG has an EV. MG has an SUV. Like, MG has done well for itself. However, from the softer alloys, softer materials, from other kind of things, from slightly underbaked electronics that pissed me off, from definitely not very well tuned DCT, at least in MG HS, I would still put it on the, next place down. And the top place right now, in my humble opinion, as far as Chinese vehicles in Australia are concerned, is GWM. GWM Cannon Utes are fantastic. GWM H6, Haval H6, sorry, GWM Haval H6 is still a great car. Whether it's a car for me long term, you already figured out that it's not, because I want my Jeep back, or at least a sense of a Jeep back. But it's fantastic. Do they have shortfalls? Plenty. Plenty of videos published where I praised and where I bashed, yeah, of what they're doing. But still, workmanship, feedback from the other channels, from Russians, from other kind of people, suggests to me that GWM vehicles are a lot more sturdy. And when it comes to depreciation, when it comes to retention of value, when it comes to longevity, they definitely would offer us both a lot more than Chery, MG, or LDV. Yeah, that's GWM. And I put, just for simplicity and because the video is already too long, I'm putting both HS, Haval, and tank into the same category. I just can't be bothered expanding on it. And then the satellite brands, the smaller ones such as BYD, which may or may not have longevity to them. I have not test driven one myself, but research shows that their footprint in Australia is so tiny that I would simply not consider them right now. Plus, they are already starting to climb into those more competitive price categories of $45,000, $50,000 and beyond, such as Cupra, such as, those kind of cars. So there you go. So overall, it did end up being ranty. I tried to take you a bit on a journey of my own logic of how I was buying cars, why I was exchanging cars, and what do I eventually think about owning a Chinese car in Australia. I still think that there is a massive, massive market of cars that are available right now that are not going to fall apart, but you're buying them cheaper, you can afford them, you can buy them for your kids, you can buy them as a second car to run around town. But of course you're buying into the fact that it's not going to be a Toyota Hilux that will have the same price 5 years down the track that you can sell used. So of course not. So it's a give and a take, my friends. Let me know in the comments down below if I was able to connect with you in a way of, we don't have to agree as long as we remain mutually respectful, as I always keep saying. But do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you still think that I'm not hitting the right notes in terms of understanding where you are coming from? Or perhaps I am. Perhaps this helps you make your own decision, and someone who is very sensible and honest and vulnerable to the extent with my audience is able to talk sense. So do let me know. I hope you enjoyed this a bit off the cuff video. Give the video a like always, it goes a long way. And I'll talk to you again about something else, probably Chinese cars related on this channel. Thanks again for tuning in. Goodbye for now.